In a blockbuster three-team trade, James Harden is coming to the Clippers to create the oldest super team in NBA history. Matthew Stafford's thumb injury is not as bad as expected, and UCLA might have another mid-season position battle on the offensive unit. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. And this is one of those days where I can absolutely validate why LA is the greatest sports city in the world. It is October 31st, 2023. It's Halloween. Now, if I were single, I would absolutely be looking forward to loitering on Sunset Boulevard for the annual parade of half-naked, maybe they're legal cosplay chicks. Thankfully, I'm married to the most beautiful girl in the world. I don't have to worry about that anymore. What I can do in the meantime is keep you in the know about LA sports. And if you like doing that, clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment, because there's a lot to talk about in LA today. Before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. D'Angelo Russell scores 28 points to lead the Lakers to a 106-103 victory over Orlando. Orlando stays in town today. They'll be playing this Clippers team at 7:30. It's highly doubtful James Harden will play. It's even more doubtful if you recognize any of the Clippers who are left, pretty much. They sent out a lot of people. The Kings are at Toronto at 5. Coach Todd McClellan said Cam Talbot is likely to get the start in net. But here is your top story. Late last night, and we are talking the witching hour, James Harden finally got his wish to be excommunicated from Philadelphia. He is coming to the Clippers in the latest attempt to build a super team in the NBA. This is according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. I took the time to write all the particulars on the board because look, ever since Harden started bitching his way out of Philly, and this has been going on since June, the idea from the Clippers is that, yeah, we'll just give you Terrence Mann, call it a deal. And that was never going to happen. If you're going to get James Harden out of Philadelphia, you do either one of two things. You either send a superstar back. There was no way the Clippers were going to do that. Because what do they gain? They wouldn't become better by swapping one superstar for another. That's one problem. The other problem is that the Sixers would theoretically want a lot of draft picks and some people they could move out to generate more cap space. The Clippers sent about 5,000 draft picks to Oklahoma City in the first place to land Paul George. So that necessitated a third team, which they got in the Oklahoma City Thunder. So before we go through all the moving parts, I just want to get to the brass tacks. I don't like this trade that much for the Clippers. Now, I see why they did it. Oh, absolutely, I see why they did it. For one, they lose exactly 0 starters in the deal. All of the guys I wrote down on that board come off the bench for the Clippers. Also, this puts them back in the conversation for the Western Conference Finals, possibly the NBA Finals. They also have another big name to sell tickets in the Intuit Arena when it opens next year. If you assume that either Paul George or Kawhi Leonard say to hell with this and they leave LA, you have Harden to sell some tickets. The Clippers are going to wind up excelling, by the way, at so-called small ball. But this is balanced because this is now an old-ass basketball team. Old as hell. James Harden is 34. Paul George, 33. Kawhi Leonard, 32. Russell Westbrook is 34. If those are your 4 superstars in your lineup, good luck running a fast break because it's hard to run a fast break when you're using a walker and a cane to get down the court in the first place. If Ivica Zubac is 26 and he's not getting the ball, who are we kidding, right? You're going to run plays through Ivica Zubac? That's not happening. Because you also have 2 known ball hogs in that starting 5 that I just listed. How the hell are you going to find offensive flow there? And by the way, the biggest knock on the Clippers in the playoffs was that they would always struggle. You know, the only one that we know who doesn't struggle in the playoffs is Kawhi Leonard, assuming he's not hurt. But James Harden struggles in the playoffs too. So yes, you have lots of star power. You even have star power to replace star power when the inevitable injury to Kawhi Leonard or Paul George happens. So these are good things. But there's a lot of bad things. Here's another bad thing. How long do you think it's going to be before Harden starts complaining again? This is his fourth team in 3 years. He is a known malcontent. All the things he could complain about. Oh, I'm not getting the ball enough. That's going to be a legitimate thing. Wanting a new contract, that could be a legitimate thing. I'm James Harden, gimme, gimme, gimme. But it's not 2012 anymore, guys. And he's going to be asked to sacrifice touches for the good of the team. Good luck with that. Good luck. One other thing, if you're a Clipper fan that you're going to like PJ Tucker in the playoffs. He's tough. You need toughness. But speaking of age, he's 38 years old. Second oldest player in the NBA. Now let's say you go, you know what, James, we can still get a little younger. What if we move Russell Westbrook to the bench? You could, and that might not be a bad idea, but the man has had a career renaissance since he came to the Clippers. He's legitimately revived his career. Do you really want to do that to the guy? He's put in the effort for you. Do you want to punish him for that? And by the way, the Clippers did keep Terrence Mann, but to build this team, the Clippers now have no first-round draft picks for the rest of the decade. None. And they're old. You've heard the phrase sunk cost. What a sunk cost is I've got this property, it keeps losing money, but I'm just going to keep funneling money into it. Eventually, it's going to bounce right back, right? I don't think that's going to happen here. Look what the Clippers did. This team has to win a title, or everything is a big fat L. And to be honest with you, I don't think the team is better than Denver. I don't even know if they're better than the Lakers. Now, as for the other teams, I like what they did. Take a look at what Philly got. They have a ton of picks. They're definitely going to have cap space. They're going to get somewhere between $50 million and $65 million. And I'll tell you what I really like on the down low. I like what Oklahoma City did. They swapped a protected first-round pick for an unprotected first-round pick the next year. Protected 2026, going to Philly. Unprotected 2027 from the Clippers. Does anybody think the Clippers are going to be good in 2027? Do you really? All of their starters are going to wind up pushing 40. They're not going to be playing anymore. It's going to be a bunch of G League players. Oklahoma City has a shot at a really high lottery pick in 2027. Just saying. You let me know what you think in the comments thread. Meanwhile, The Athletic is reporting that the Clippers have extended the contract of backup point guard Bones Hyland through 2025. He came from Denver. The Nuggets couldn't stand him. But through 3 games this year, Hyland is averaging 15 points a game, and that's not too shabby at all. We have never been too shy for calling out the press when they make an idiotic claim about the Lakers. We can't ignore the same thing when it happens to the Clippers. Deadspin is asking if the Clippers, quote, already, unquote, have a chemistry problem. Just to get the obvious out of the way, we're only 3 games into the regular season, guys. And the Clippers are 2-1. This writer, Chris, who spells his name without an H and 2 S's, Chris Partee, based his entire column off of Kawhi Leonard's body language after the Clippers lost in Salt Lake City and Russell Westbrook missing a shot at the end of the game up there, right? What are you talking about? He's claiming that body language from Kawhi Leonard and a Russell Westbrook missed shot portends another bad season from Westbrook and a disgruntled Kawhi Leonard. So if anybody knows Chris with 2 S's and no H, please advise him that James with 4 S's and a silent Q in his name would like to let him know that legitimate reporters at least wait 5 games, guys. Could you at least wait 5 before judging this team? Really? I mean, I know it's way too late for somebody to have run spell check on your first name, Chris. But if you want help on the journalisming, I could be your go-to guy. The Rams' Matthew Stafford's ulnar collateral ligament is sprained at the right thumb. He is day-to-day. This is according to Coach Sean McVay. If you watched the Sunday's Rams game, which I could see you do if you thought Faces of Death wasn't grotesque enough, you noticed that Stafford appeared to bounce his throwing hand off of a Dallas player's helmet in the second quarter. He also dove as a receiver on a trick play during a two-point attempt. Now, look, we all love Sean McVay, but if you have reason to believe Stafford's thumb is starting to get injured, why would you have him play receiver on a trick play? But anyway, Stafford's injury, because we don't know if he's playing Sunday or not, set off a chain reaction of whackness. If you remember a guy named John Wolford, when Stafford got hurt last year, they had John Wolford start a game. He was so bad, they went to the third string quarterback and then wound up pulling Baker Mayfield off the scrap heap. Yeah, Wolford is now on his way back to LA. So this is great news, guys. Absolutely great. I paid for his ticket on Frontier and everything to bring him back to LA. Good times. I'm losing my faith in Turf Show Times, by the way, as a source for Rams information. They ran the following headline yesterday, quote, Rams should sell at the trade deadline. Matthew Stafford to the Vikings. This is stupider than pouring your life savings into the Mike Pence presidential campaign. If you remember, this is the website last week that urged the Rams to sign Carson Wentz and ride or die with a guy who was chased out of Philadelphia, Washington, and Indianapolis. This would wind up being the fourth stop on the Carson Wentz Fail Across America tour if we followed the advice of Turf Show Times. And by the way, the NFL trade deadline is at 1 o'clock today. There are exactly 0 legit trade rumors involving the Rams or the Chargers. If you are thinking the Rams are going to suck for the rest of the year, by the way, they would select 9th in the NFL draft if it were held today. And if that makes you wonder more about Caleb Williams, please understand the Arizona Cardinals are boat racing the Rams to that top pick. So there's that. Here is something I missed. I rewatched the Bruins game against Colorado because I was hoping to find evidence as to who stole all the jewelry from the Buffalo's locker room. Side note, pro tip. Don't bring hundreds of thousands of dollars of bling into a stadium with 70,000 suspects. Could you swing that in the future there, guys? Because you're in LA now. The cops aren't coming. The district attorney is only going to tell you to go file a claim on a website. And by the way, the website has been hacked. So sorry if you get doxxed, Coach Prime. LA and crime, guys. LA and crime. But I rewatched the game. Something I forgot to mention is that Bruins starting running back Carson Steele was acting more like Carson Wentz. He was the guy who fumbled twice in the first half. Now, then you look at the box score, and then you realize that TJ Harden was the leading rusher, that TJ Harden got way more touches. So I ask you this because UCLA has already traded quarterbacks around, right? Could they do the same? Bench Carson Steele for TJ Harden. Now, so far, everybody is kind of saying the right thing. Harden said Steele is a good player and will bounce back, but then he added, quote, we always emphasize job security. Coach always says, ball security is job security anywhere you go. We are going to continue to emphasize ball security. That, Mr. Harden, is a very subtle knife in the back. Very subtle, sir. Very subtle. This story would have led on many days out in LA. Mookie Betts ran into a lot of scribes in Phoenix yesterday. Betts is basically auditioning for a broadcast role with Fox when his career retires, as an active ball player. So the LA Times runs him down and they ask what he thought about former Dodger pitcher Trevor Bauer, who lost his career in the United States on a sexual assault accusation that never went to trial. It's complex, it's ugly. We've gone through it dozens of times on this channel. So I don't want to recap every nuance. But Betts said, quote, my experience with Bauer is not anything remotely close to what everyone else's experiences is. I love him. I think he's an awesome guy. The personal things, I have no control. I have no say. Obviously, nothing ever came from it. He's an awesome pitcher. He's a great guy. Somebody who wants to take the mound every fifth day. But at the end of the day, I don't make the decision, unquote. To which is an unresounding, letter of recommendation for Trevor Bauer. But if you're Trevor Bauer, you're probably sitting there going, thanks, but you couldn't have said that 2 years ago, eh? Couldn't have found that in your heart a couple of years ago, buddy? Just asking. Rookie of the Year, four-time All-Star and world champion Frank Howard has died at age 87, cause of death not revealed. Now, also, The Athletic has been reviewing potential Dodger free agents. They had one for David Peralta, but what's the point in telling you about that? He's had off-season surgery. He's 36. For all we know, he's going to retire. But JD Martinez is a different story, a vastly different story. They love him at DH. You plug him in, you get consistent offense. Perfect fit, right? Wrong. Because the perfect fit is Shohei Ohtani, who's going to be playing DH while his pitching elbow heals from a second surgery. So this is an odd question then for the Dodgers, because Ohtani and Martinez are the only desirable designated hitters out there. You will get a drop-off if you sign Andrew McCutchen or Joey Votto. They're not young anymore. Their production is declining. Martinez is therefore the litmus test to judge how much interest the Dodgers have in Shohei Ohtani. If they keep Martinez, Ohtani can't DH. Or Martinez is going to have to learn how to play with a glove. So in other words, you keep Martinez, you're out on Ohtani. If there's silence, that suggests that the Dodgers are backing up the Brinks truck for the Japanese superstar. If you are wondering, USC defensive coordinator Alex Grinch will speak to the press today. Among the questions I hope they ask, Coach Grinch, you said you wanted to apply pressure on the quarterback every play. Why do you only have one sack in the last 3 weeks? Can you answer me that, sir? Now, I bring that up because the continued employment of Alex Grinch is like watching the rest of the team jump in front of a locomotive. It's like watching the inevitable gruesome mass suicide of a cult, right? And I bring this up because so many people piled on Caleb Williams for having a couple of so-so, not-so-great weeks. But the USC offense is averaging 45.9 points a game. They are second in the country in offense, number 2 in scoring. And people actually have the ovaries to question Caleb Williams. Where does that come from? Angel City is taking care of one off-season priority on the pitch. They have extended goalie Angelina Anderson. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. You tell me what you think about this blockbuster trade. You tell me what you think about the Rams quarterback situation with and or without Matthew Stafford. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corta El Queso production. Take care.